Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies.
Yay! Hey, good morning, Bill.
Good morning. Episode number 153, Peter.
Wow.
153. Avoiding fear only makes sense if you want to make sense. It's a play on words, like make sense, like logically in your mind makes sense, and only if you want to make like sense, like less than $1.
Oh, avoiding fear. Oh, okay. Don't avoid the fear.
Avoiding fear only makes sense, logically.
Yeah.
If you want to make sense, like 2 cents.
Yeah. Don't worry about the fear. Jump in.
Well,
don't let it stop you.
It's not that easy because most people don't think that it's that easy. So we're going to talk about that today.
Okay.
Here we go. Here's a description. Trying to avoid fear and danger in a world that manufactures it like trees make oxygen. In other words, unlimited.
Where do you come up with this stuff?
Yeah. It's funny. We were talking about this on the coaching call the other night. They want to know where all my content comes from. And I told them, in a place you can't be. And they said, where's that? Bill's Planet.
Yeah, the dark recesses of the center of your mind.
All right. Trying to avoid fear and danger in a world that manufactures it like trees make oxygen, unlimited, is impossible. Bad things happen to good people every day, Peter. Every day. By trying to avoid fear and danger is actually the most counterproductive thing you can do. And here's the thing. It's not even you. It's your subconscious mind. And you don't even know it.
Oh, we're going to go there today?
Oh, yeah. I'm in a rare mood today.
Oh, boy.
So,
see, I'm a starter with that today. But I tried to back off, but no, Bill's going to go straight in.
So, how do you overcome this fear that brings on anxiety of hitting a dangerous situation you don't want?
Oh, boy.
If you're willing to go along with others just to go along, if you're willing to go along with others just to get along, this podcast is for you and only you. Okay? If you don't like confronting or like confrontation, that's what I'm trying to say. If you don't like confrontation and are worried about how things will turn out all the time, this podcast is for you. If you watch others do amazing things and wish you could do it too, but you're afraid to do this podcast is for you. So we know who this podcast is for by now, right?
Yeah. I have to repeat that like a mantra. It's for you.
But you're afraid that things are going to go sour. The only way you will ever grow is to conquer this part of your mind and learn to love fear.
The end?
Wow.
The end?
Yeah. Tough subject.
I just read the other day, I forgot who said it. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not even trying. You're not going to get anywhere. It's just going to sit where you are.
You're nowhere near your potential.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a disclaimer. Actually, 2 disclaimers. One of which I can't do because I forgot to bring the book with me. Em, could you grab the book on my desk, please? Thank you. First disclaimer is today's show is really, truly, honest to goodness, a pep talk for me.
For yourself?
It's actually a pep talk for me.
You wake up in the morning.
It didn't start that way, but as I was writing it, I'm like, wow, I'm feeling a little better here. I'm like talking to myself like, wait a minute, am I talking to the podcast dudes or am I talking to me?
Well, hell, it's coming out of your head, Bill.
So this is like a little pep talk for me. You guys are going to actually help me today because, like everybody else, I've been kind of going through some mental kind of like weirdness.
Mm-hmm. Beat downs?
Yeah, just kind of like I've had, let's put it this way. If I was down in the ring, in the ancient times, and everybody was throwing stones at me, I'm still not dead, but the stones are still coming.
Oh boy!
Okay.
Ouch.
The other thing is disclaimer. Some of the content I got from today's show was from Grant Cardone's book, "Be Obsessed or Be Average." So I want to give him credit. It's not necessarily I took the copy from or anything like that from him. It's a book that I've read or am reading, or reading parts of it, I should say, because when I kind of like get in a zone that I'm in right now, I kind of have to pull myself out because I don't always have somebody to help pull myself out. So I rely on some books, and that's one of them that I rely on. I don't, 10X Rule is another one. There's a few others that I kind of go back to. Ben Siegel's book that we just went over a few podcasts ago is another one. And I reread portions of the book to kind of like rejuvenate myself.
Yeah. Recenter, refocus.
Recharge my batteries.
Back up. Charge.
So that's just a disclaimer at the beginning of the show. You should, if you don't have the book, you should go check it. It's called Obsessed or Be Average. Grant is just, he's a freaking nut. There's just no way about it. You like him, what does he say? Like him or not, he's okay as long as you know who he is.
Oh.
That's what he says.
Wow.
All right. So let's start off. What is an entrepreneur anyways? Here's a good definition. And this is the part I'm talking about. This is from Grant's book.
Yeah.
Okay. He says a person who organizes and operates a business or businesses taking on greater than normal financial risk in order to make money. It's a good definition. So what is an entrepreneur? A person who organizes and operates a business or businesses taking on greater than normal financial risk in order to make money. Now, I'd argue with that a little bit, okay, that the definition is not quite right because you can't actually make money.
Because what?
You can't actually make money.
You can't?
No. The Federal Reserve makes money.
Jeez.
Okay?
You're getting literal on us?
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
But you put what you have or can get at risk to collect it from others. That's what you're really doing is you either put what you have or what you can get, sometimes it's credit, at risk to collect from others, hold it for a little while until you can reinvest it, then do the same thing over and over and over again. Right?
Yep.
Now, sometimes you reinvest in raw materials like a factory would make, like bottled water, or I used to do a bunch of lectures at a business every Tuesday night for many years. I did a lecture at a business club, and we would always talk about having a donut factory. We were always making donuts in a donut factory because we would talk about how to organize. It was kind of like the E-Myth type of thing. He talks about a bakery. I would talk about a donut factory. So, you might want to reinvest in buying more dough or buying more equipment, but the point is that you would reinvest so that you could make, so you can acquire more money. Right? So is this making sense? I'm not off.
Oh, yeah. No, there's a great show the other night on a really nice network of some guy who was born an orphan, but he finally got a job somehow and realized that in Africa there was no transportation between two important cities and people couldn't get there. So he somehow bought a little bus and started driving people back. And he bought another bus and another bus and another bus and then a business, and the guy wound up a millionaire.
Yeah.
But he found an opportunity and just kept reinvesting in the next bus, the next thing, and just was crazy.
Right. Good. So, when investing in new ventures, it's dangerous. Why?
Because it's new and it hasn't been tried. Right. You're not sure how it's going to work out. Did anybody ever do it?
Right.
Maybe, maybe not.
Right. So, basically, it's new territory or uncharted waters.
Like America.
Right. Right. Eventually. Get back to that.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. This whole country is like one big crapshoot.
So basically, the reason why it's dangerous is because you don't know about it. It's not that it's been done before or somebody else knows about it. You just don't know about it.
Right.
And it's outside of your comfort zone. So like if you were to take just for an example, you were in the center of a circle, and let's say your circle, your zone of influence or your circle goes around you, say 10 feet all the way around. That's like your zone of control. What we're talking about now is now instead of having a 10 feet zone of control that you're in, right, you now make it 20 feet. So the difference between the 10 feet you're used to and the 10 feet that you've just taken on is a bunch of unfamiliar, confusing things that you may not have seen before.
Right.
So what happens a lot is when somebody does that extra 10 feet per se, in my analogy, is confusion. So what happens usually is when somebody starts putting order in or starts controlling a new area, right, that confusion hits them first.
Yeah.
And then they think, oh my God, I did something wrong. Look at all this confusion. And their thought is to retract and not go any further because it's a subconscious mind thing that, oh my God, I made a wrong decision. When really it's not true. What you're doing is you're taking on that extra 10 feet that is new and uncharted territory. So the only way to get through it is to continuously just put more order in and just keep learning more about that extra 10 feet. Right. And just know and that's where Grant's book comes in, is be obsessed with it. Make sure you know everything you know about that extra 10 feet.
Was that his point?
It's one of them.
One of them, like the obsession is to just learn more about it, embrace it.
Well, not learn more, but just be. Well, we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
Just believe in yourself that you can do it. That's the big thing.
Oh, he managed the first 10 feet.
Right. Exactly.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Well, kids have to do that. Geez, they're like 10 inches when they start out.
So basically, here's what happens. 10 inches.
I have a grandchild coming in 2 weeks and 2 days, and it'll be 10 inches, if anything. Yeah. You know?
So basically, here's the deal. You have this uncharted turf or territory or waters, whatever you want to call it, right? And you're not sure about it, but yet you've made a decision that you need to put all your time, energy, resources, put your name on it, and all this valuable assets, or these valuable assets that you have, right?
Yeah.
Into something you're not so sure about. And there you go. There we have anxiety, because we talked about this on the shows. What is the definition of anxiety, according to me, or according to some places that I've read? Anxiety is not certain of the future.
Right.
You're not sure how it's going to turn out, so it gives you this nervousness.
Yeah, what if?
Yeah. And your mind, because we have going back to my analogy, your circle is 10 feet and now it's 20 feet. Now you have this uncharted territory, and your mind never stops solving problems for you. So either you give it problems or it makes up its own problems, right? Because your mind is never going to stop solving problems for you. That's what it's there for, right? So you should rewind this if you didn't get what I just said, because it's either you give it problems and it solves those, or it will find problems and start solving them. Yeah. So you ever notice how some people just seem like they have problem after problem and their life just never goes right, and they're constantly like their car breaks and their mortgage is this and their kids are sick, and well, those are people that don't have preconceived or preset problems. They're like life is living them instead of them living life. Yeah. Right? And that's all that is they don't have, their mind is looking and seeking for problems.
Yeah, and if you don't believe it, check my mom. No, I mean,
92 years old, yeah.
95 next week, 95. But she has no problems. I pay all her bills, some money I take. Everything's taken care of her. But man, she come down in the kitchen to be some dishes in the sink. Damn dishes. So whatever,
right.
Or a fly goes through them, she screams.
Right.
So, but anybody will do that. Or if you have no problems, you have to find something to do.
Right.
So you'll find some and you dig some up.
So,
might as well have some really good ones instead of making up some. What bothers me when people worry about will you stop worrying about that? I'm in the car with the wife, that guy cut in front. Who cares? I lost a second. I got other things. We got other things to do here. Let's worry about those things. A second, some guy over there. Who cares about that guy?
So anxiety is not knowing how the future is going to turn out.
Yeah.
So it's that extra 10 feet that you took on. It's that new zone of control or responsibility. You don't know how it's going to turn out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the real danger and risk really comes down to finding the charts of those waters as soon as possible and have a clear vision to the path that makes some sense, right? So you can believe in what's right or that it will be all right. So really, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about the actual path? Are we talking about the extra 10 feet you took on? No, what we're really talking about is what you believe. Because you don't believe, you're second guessing yourself that it's going to be okay. I mean, one of the drills that I do in my own mind, because I'm 55 now, and I think to myself, what's some of the worst things that happened in my life? I mean, when I was 17 years old, I got thrown. I left my mother and father's house. I didn't get thrown out. I told my father to go pound salt, and I was gone. Right? And I still had a year of high school left.
Yeah.
And all I had was a car. I ended up moving in with a girl with a baby that was not mine. But I had been dating her, and we were, blah blah blah. That was before I did that. I lived in my car for 7 months.
Jesus.
That was the worst thing that I think ever happened to me in my life. I mean, the real worst thing. I mean, I look back and it's there's been a lot of stress and there's a lot of worry. I mean, what does worry really do anyways?
No, I read a great quote the other day. You're going to have problems. No sense also worrying about them.
Right.
Just deal with it, handle it. Worrying about it won't fix anything. Just go do it.
So to me, what worry is a mind with a vacuum. It doesn't have enough to do.
Oh.
So there's a vacuum. It's filling, because the physical universe or the universe abhors a vacuum.
Yeah, it'll just suck up something.
Right?
Yeah.
So it just abhors a vacuum.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what worry is that it's just the mind is got a vacuum. And it's filling it up. Mm-hmm. It's just taking space.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's what worry is. Because one of the things that I do is I look back and I think to myself, what's the worst that can happen? And I start role playing in my mind. Well, this could happen or that happen. And then next thing I know, when I start thinking, well, that's not so bad. And, well, I could probably handle that. Or, well, if that happens, then I'll just do this.
Yeah, as long as you have an option or two to do, right. I'll do this, or I can do that. If that happens, then I'll do that.
Right.
I mean, none of it's killed you.
Right. And that was my point that I was trying to get to a few minutes ago, is I managed to always get through whatever.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way, something happened.
When I was a kid, and I have kid problems, I always said, you know what? In a few days, a week, it'll be over. Just hang on, and it'll be over.
Right.
And it's over. And okay. I'm done. Okay, what's next? And you just go on.
And what I recite in my head is something very similar. It's this too shall pass.
Oh. Okay.
And sure enough, as long as I can, and I know I can, as long as I can stand still, stand stably on long enough.
Hold your ground.
Hold my ground. That's a better way to put it.
Hold your ground.
Then this too shall pass.
Yeah. All things must pass.
Right. And I do that. It's actually, I was thinking, what made me kind of provoke me to do this show is I was thinking about that the other day, is when something happens, for example, I don't want to get into the whole story because we don't have time, but I was doing the closing last month and the buyer had email fraud.
Oh,
remember? And so the attorney the attorney's email got hacked and she sent off $9,500
For the deposit.
scammers for the deposit, and then gets to the closing, and the attorney's looking for the money order, and it's like, what are you talking about? And she tells him, well, you emailed me last night, and it was a scammer.
Oh, I sent it to you already. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Right?
And it was because they changed the guy's email from yahoo.com to yahoo.com. And And they intervene now who teaches that? I mean, I've been in real estate 15 years, done hundreds of deals, and here I am sitting at a closing that I worked my balls off for, pardon my French. I mean, I worked my balls off for that closing. And here I am, and it's like, poof. Yeah. Like about ready to blow up because some scammer came in, and who I've never been trained for that. So what do? So the point is that I told my attorney, he's like asking me what to do, and I'm like, just sit tight. And whenever I get into some sort of situation like that, now I don't put a lot of time into it, but I put a little time into it, and let's just see what happens.
Yeah,
let's see how the cards are going to fall on the table, right?
That one was crazy though, Bill.
Right. So let's get to the core of what I want to talk about in today's show.
Mm-hmm. Can I make one comment though? You said you're talking about fear and stress, and I read somewhere. I'm not sure if you're going to mention it today. So if I jumped it, I apologize. But I've done it. And I've seen friends do it. And I read it. When you're in fear, take action.
Yeah.
Go do something.
Yeah.
Go take the next step, whatever it is. Find solutions. Do something. You'll feel better doing something than being a sitting duck.
You don't even have to do something towards it. Just go cut the grass, clean your car. I used to have a friend of mine that when I owned a used car lot, he was across the street, and he was an old guy, and he used to tell me, "Oh yeah, when it gets like this, I just go get a haircut." You know what I mean? And he would, and he would just, because he would shut the dealership down. He would go leave the dealership, and he would go get a haircut and just do something unusual in his day.
What if you have 3 things go wrong in a week?
Yeah. All right. So what I want to talk about is believing, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but it's fairly easy to make a decision. Like, I want to create independence through real estate investing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's fairly easy to make that. And I don't want to belittle that because a decision is everything. Question now becomes, how much do you believe it? Right? Are you totally and truly obsessed? That's where Grant's book comes in. Are you truly obsessed with it and willing to go against most everything around you? Right?
Yeah, that's what it takes sometimes.
Yeah. So if needed, are you willing to give up your average brainwashed life on how you should play the long game and be safe? Because that's what's promoted. Play the long game and be safe.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So the amazing thing about what I'm telling you right now is you say, I want to create independence through real estate investing. That's the thought. That's the decision. That's the affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately your subconscious mind says, well, how are you going to do that if you got a job?
Mm-hmm.
And it counter efforts that decision. And you don't even know you did it. So that's not believing. So if you say to yourself, I want to make $1,000 by the end of the week, and then you say, but how am I going to do that? It's a counter effort.
Mm-hmm.
Or not even how am I going to do that? I need to make $1,000 by the end of the week, but my car's broken. I can't get to work.
Yeah.
It's like you're
fill in the blank.
It's counterproductive to what your decision was. In other words, you don't have. I don't know where I heard this story, and I'm sure everybody else listening has heard this story. I was talking to Emma about it the other day about how the story of the guy that has an army and he's got a bunch of ships and they're going to take over an island, and he gets to the island and he orders his guys to burn the ships. and he's like, either we're going to win or we're all going to die. I mean, that's the kind of belief I'm talking about.
That's incentive.
Yeah. So it's like
no backup plan.
You have no backup plan. It's like this is
one parachute.
Only thing, right? That's a good way to put it.
One parachute,
right? And if you believe it, then you'll go through your travails and you go through. So it's really, that is the core of what we're talking about today is, do you really believe in yourself? Or do you believe in the environment that's pushing you around? Do you believe in the people, the average people, like I'm saying, the average brainwashed life, right? On how you should play for the long game, right?
Yeah, save up a little bit at a time.
Right. Ever think about this? The reason you're taught to diversify, like in investments, the reason why you're taught to diversify so that you're safe is because experts assume you're lazy and that you will never do your homework to properly invest. So we're talking about investing now, right? Yeah. So the experts want you to diversify. So they don't want you to pay attention.
Yeah. I mean, if you really knew something was really, really going to be good, you just go for it.
Right.
But if you're not sure, well, just dabble here. It's like everything in moderation, which I hate.
Right.
That's to me, that's stupid.
So not only do they not only that, if you diversify, you'll need professional help, right, to invest, and you'll have to hire that expert, right, as well as once you know, I'm talking about investing like stock market type investing, as well as not only have to hire the expert to help you find it, but now you have to hire a manager for the mutual funds and all that kind of stuff,
and pay them fees, whether it goes up or down.
So here's an important rule to live by. With that said, this is like that's like a analogy. Shift your energy into offensive spending and investing instead of defensive. In other words, buy assets and as few liabilities as you can. And if you concentrate on assets, then you will attract what you need, especially if the assets are at a bargain or a good deal. You will attract what you need.
Okay. Yeah.
So what was that thing going around for a while? Law of attraction, whatever that was. You'll attract what you need. But I'm telling you from vast experience of screwing things up. We've said this before. I've said this before. Where your attention goes, energies flow, results show. What you believe is going to happen is what will happen. I think Henry Ford said it, and I don't have it correctly. Whether you think it's right or whether you think it's wrong, you're correct. Something like that.
I think I saw that. I just came back from this museum in Fort Myers. I saw that on the wall.
Yeah. Whether it's something like that. Whether you think it's right or you think it's wrong, you're correct.
Yeah.
Because that's what you believe.
If you think it's wrong, it's wrong.
Right? Let's just divert for 1 second. Let's talk about contractors and hiring rehabbers.
Yeah.
You know, my sister just sold her house. She spent almost $30,000 on a kitchen. You and I spend 10. What did she believe and what did we believe?
I'm not sure what she was thinking, but
you understand?
Yeah. Well, she wasn't doing it to make money. She was doing it to satisfy herself.
Right. Well, she believed that a new kitchen should cost $30,000. I believe a new kitchen should cost $7,000.
Yeah.
So if I'm spending 10 when I think it should be 7, and she's spending 30 when she thinks it should be 40, what do you believe?
Yeah.
Right.
If you believe it, you'll do it.
Okay, so we're in the part of the show. Where are we at now? I can't see the clock. What is it, Em? 29 minutes? Okay, so here we go.
I'm still on 6:08 here.
Yeah, the clock stopped working. All right, here we go. So this is the part where you guys are going to start helping me now, because this is what I need, what I've needed for a couple of months. I've been and I didn't know that until I wrote today's podcast. So I'm going to start talking to myself now, and you guys can listen in.
And when Bill's done, we'll all say, Bill, we understand.
All right.
Totally get it, Bill. We completely understand you. Not yet. Go ahead, Bill.
So here's another jewel that I want to give to you. And I talk about this on my coaching call all the time, and I have raving over the ramparts, completely outlandish success from this one word. And because you listen to the coaching calls. So as soon as
I don't know I know what word it is. What's the word?
As soon as I say it, you're going to be like, "Oh yeah."
Okay.
And I might have to take the mic away from you.
Yeah, because I don't know what it is.
You'll go on about it. The word is outflow. Yeah.
I'm all about outflow right now, Bill.
How many coaching clients have I talked to, and it's like blah 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 blah. It's like you need outflow.
Yeah.
You need outflow.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about that for a second because that is kind of a strange word. Okay. Well, it's actually two words, but I make it one. Okay. You need to flex. This is me. I'm talking to me now. Remember, Bill.
Say, listen to yourself.
Earth to Bill. Earth to Bill. Come in, Bill. Bill, come in. Okay?
It's like Bill's planet. This is like planet to Bill. Planet to Bill.
You need to flex your hustle muscles. I need to flex my hustle muscles because I've not had the hustle in a while.
Mm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you, my wife being ill last year has put me in a position that I didn't think I was going to be in ever again. And it's actually quite enlightening, mostly for you guys more than me, because I will figure it out. I have no doubt about that. Mm-hmm. I may not want to do some of the things I'm doing. I may not like some of the things I'm going to have to do.
But you'll be doing them.
But I'll be doing them. And that puts me right back into the shoes of my listeners, because now I have to kind of start over again. Not quite, but close enough.
You have to get back to business.
Right?
I mean, you know how to do it. You don't have to reinvent it, but you have to get back in the car and start hitting it.
Right. So I need to spend and continue spending as much time as possible focusing on the energy I'm putting into growing revenue. So my energy needs to be going on growing revenue. Now, we were talking about this yesterday because it's like I'm trying to hire a bookkeeper and I got all these administration type things going on. You know, it's like you and I are talking because we're trying to expand and buy some bigger buildings, right? And it's like you keep saying, why don't we do some organize and some production, right? And mix it up. So now we're not just constantly organizing and getting nothing done. Mm-hmm. By the way, production is the basis of morale.
Mm-hmm. That's why I want to do that, because it feels crappy to.
So even, some days I'll even go out and just wash the car, right? Or I'll clean my office.
Bill, I fixed my tiller.
There you go.
Yay.
Yeah. Okay. So the fastest and easiest way for me and you, people listening, to do this is to constantly connect with new people. Which is where when I scan back in my life, realize every time I've gotten in the position that I'm in right now is because I'm not constantly connecting with new people.
What kind of new people?
I don't care.
Because it could be like business associates, or it could be customers,
depending on whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
So if you're like a yoga person, then constantly connect with new people. Now, I'm going to talk about that. Okay?
You never said that before. I like that.
Yeah.
With new people.
Well, it's in Grant's book.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
because we've done that recently. We have some new people in our lives.
Yeah.
And our lives are changing because of that.
Yeah. Now, regardless of where you live or work, okay, you need to make it a point to continually meet new people. If you're not constantly meeting new people, you will not connect with more influential and smarter people. Mm. And that's what's happened to me. I've become stagnant. Mm. All right? So get online. Do it in person. Over the phone. At a conference. Through mentors. And everything in between. Just get out there and meet new people.
Yeah.
So, the way I see it, because we're still talking to Bill here, is a good success formula when you meet someone is this. Find out who they are and what they're trying to do or what they're trying to communicate about.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Then tell them what you do. Once you do that, once they have any interest in what you do, if they have any interest. So in other words, the first one is kind of like a pre-qualifier. Mm-hmm. Right? Like,
see what they do.
I knew a chiropractor. His name was Dave Singer.
Okay.
And his introduction to anybody is he'd go up and shake their hand. Now he's a chiropractor. Mm-hmm. He would shake their hand and he would say, "How you feeling today?" That was his.
Jeez, he just goes right into it.
Yeah,
it's his opening line.
Yeah,
wow.
Or whatever. I mean, I'm just saying how. I mean, that was his. How you feeling today?
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
And you and I know because we did a survey not too long ago.
Uh-huh.
Like out of a 30-day month, how many days in the month do you actually feel really good?
Mm.
And what's the answer?
Not enough, but it's like 3, 4, 5.
It was 3 to 5 days
in a whole month.
So imagine a chiropractor. Imagine a chiropractor saying, "How you feeling today?"
Yeah. He's got a 80% shot of getting a new customer
or more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Not even a new customer, just meeting a new person and doing what I'm talking about. Find out who they are and who they're trying to communicate to, because everybody's looking for something. You know, the Amway guy, the insurance guy, the housewife.
Yeah, the mom.
You know,
she needs a tutor for the kid. She needs a babysitter. You know,
the convenience store guy. I mean, the truck driver. Everybody's looking for somebody.
Yeah.
Right? They're looking to connect with new people, and they don't always know it. Okay? The people that are introverts that are not looking to connect with new people are the fearful ones. And that's really what it is. If you get outside of your shell and you start looking to connect with new people, it's more magical than you can even imagine.
There was a guy on America's Got Talent. And if you haven't watched that show, there's amazing, beautiful things that happen. This guy was petrified, wouldn't go out of his house. And someone helped him. And he winds up telling jokes on the show and getting the whole 4,000 people to stand up. There's a kid with cancer that was picked on for being sick. Yep. He plays the violin and everyone cheers. I mean, these people moved out of their comfort zone. The kid was 11. Yep. The other guy was like 50 and just terrible.
The interesting thing about those people, and the interesting thing about that show, which I don't watch that stuff often, but often I'll come home.
It's inspiring.
9:30,
it's unbelievable.
10 o'clock at night, my wife will be watching that stuff. I'll tell you what the amazing thing about those shows is. The exposure those people get. Because even if American Idol kicks them off, somebody will see them and it'll open up some communication somewhere that will get something else going.
Well, they can get some business and shows and perform in their own neighborhood, if nothing else. But it's just an example of people in fear that just do something, and it's just remarkable what some people overcome.
Success is only through the gate of fear. You got to open the gate and walk to the other side. Otherwise, you'll
got to walk up on that stage.
Yep.
Trembling.
Right, so you find out what they want, what they're trying to do, what they're trying to communicate about, and then you tell them what you do. Once you tell them what you do, if they have any interest or they show any kind of interest, that's the best word, or there's a remote little spark there, then find out what they really need and want.
Yep.
Find out what about the topic. Like with us, it's about a seller selling a house.
Yeah.
So that's an easy topic. You know, I invest in real estate, or I'm a professional home buyer. Right? Oh, what is that? You know, it's like when we do the for sale by owner script, we call them up and say, "Would you be willing to sell your house on a terms purchase?" What is that?
Yeah.
Right. So now you've kind of opened up the door, and if it's in line with what you offer, then you know what they want. So in other words, you kind of survey them and find out what they want. And then once you find out that it's in line with something you do, then produce and present it. Just give it to them. Or some variation of it. Or a presentation of it. The point is just don't go meet people like you were talking about before. Just don't go meet new people and just, jolly, have a cigar, smoke a drink, or smoke and have a drink and jolly. That's good. And building rapport is some part of the formula.
Yeah, they liking you and like each other is fine, but it doesn't accomplish anything because, while you're talking, I was realizing life is life because it's flowing. When we're dead, we're just on the ground, nothing's moving. It's moving parts. It flows back and forth. I need things, you need things. Things go back and forth. So you might as well talk to people, but talk about those flows. What do you need to have come into your life? Right. And if it's not what you can do, so, I know a guy has bad feet. I'll send him over to you. Right. Then he'll go, hey, I know somebody needs a house. I'll send them to you. I mean, they all have contacts. Right. But it's flows.
So, Em, I don't know if I could do this because I don't have enough time. Could you go check on my bookshelf here and see if you can find my Think and Grow Rich book or some variant of it? Because I have 2 or 3 of them.
I still like that one the best. It was the first,
So one of the things that I have found to be very, 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 very powerful is affinity. How much you like or dislike somebody. Mm. And that either pulls or pushes. Yeah. Right?
It's one of those attraction things, like push or pull. How close you want to be to another person. Close or far away.
Right. It's not there, Em? Yeah. Isn't it? It's not.
As Curly said, if I get any closer to you, I'll be on the other side. That's the Three Stooges, sorry.
You found one? Yeah, I don't think it's over there. He has, Think and Grow Rich has a whole chapter on it, and I forgot the word that he uses. Appreciation.
What was he talking about?
Admiration.
Oh, that could be it.
That's what the word is.
Oh, that's big.
Never mind, Em. I pulled it out of my head. Thank you.
I'm glad it came out of your head, Bill.
Well, yeah. It's adoring and admiring. Yeah. Like, this refrigerator just fell on my head. Man, am I glad this refrigerator fell on my head, because now I know what it's like to have to pull myself up from a broken head. Mm. You know what I mean? That type of a philosophy.
So instead of like hating things that happen, finding something like, well, it's something okay about it, or like it in some way.
So I actually had a podcast written for today. Mm. And I had dinner with a very dear friend last night. She's kind of like my stepsister. I was raised by a neighbor. I mean, my father and mother and father were fine, but this neighbor who I ended up calling my godfather, or like stepfather or whatever, he was the guy that really raised me. Mm-hmm. He was 100% Sioux Indian, smart guy. He wasn't smart, book smart. He was smart.
Street smart.
Yeah, he was just good with, the land, and he taught me a lot of things, how to hunt, how to fish, hillbilly type stuff, how to fix the sink, how to fix cars. I mean, he just taught me a lot of stuff. In any event, one of the things that because I was going to meet her, I was like, it stirs up like childhood things that I don't think about a lot. But I know I'm going to reminisce when I see her, so it just stirs things up. Mm-hmm. And I told her something last night that made me wake up this morning at 6 o'clock and rewrite this podcast.
Okay.
It was inspiring.
Wow.
She was his granddaughter. And I was like the adopted kid in the neighborhood. He had 2 children. He had a wife that died from cancer, and then he had a girlfriend. And he died at 83 with Alzheimer's a few years back. I told her last night, and she just started crying. The whole family, and he had a big family. He had 9 brothers and sisters, 13 originally. The whole family kind of had, and I didn't realize this till later on in life, but resentment against this girl. Her name is Lori and I.
The girlfriend or the granddaughter?
No, the granddaughter.
They had resentment toward her.
Towards us.
Oh.
And what I realized is that the old man truly, absolutely was 1,000% interested in us. And when I told her last night, and I can't believe I'm doing this on a radio wave, but I told her last night that I personally, at 55 years old, now he's been gone probably 10 years now, 8 years, something like that, have never met anybody ever in my life that was as interested in me as me. And he was, which was the bond we had. Mm. He was truly, sincerely, absolutely interested in me. And he shaped me and molded me in ways that to this day I still think about often, like sometimes weekly. And it was because he really cared about me. Okay? And that unless you experience that, it's hard to explain. But when you give that to others, if you want to go make an offer and you're afraid of, I don't know what to do, I don't know the math, the underlying advice I give you is just go talk to somebody and be interested in them, admire the situation, and just be you.
Mm.
And it will cut through all the fear. There's nothing to be afraid of. Don't try to be interesting. Be interested. So don't try to put a show on so they'll like you or say, hey, he's a nice guy. Just be interested in that person and listen to them and be there and turn on admiration. Just admire and have affinity and like the person and understand who they are. And understand that down deep, they're just a person, and all the weirdness is just weirdness. It's not really them. It's their subconscious mind dramatizing in front of you.
It's their baggage, but you ignore that. There's a person. I've seen you do this, and you'll talk to the person. I want to try to give an example so it's not that vague. You'll talk to the person. You'll find out what you're trying to do. Whether it's moving a camper someplace or try to get to Florida somehow to be with a person to help them or whatever the heck it is, and you'll actually really try to help them do that. And they can tell you're trying to do that. You're not just trying to get the house somehow.
Right.
And I've seen you do it. And it's like, we've done it. I've done it with a few people. They had to get to Denver to help the daughter-in-law with the baby and blah, blah, blah. And when you really help them do it, they really appreciate it. Mm-hmm. And no matter what the price of the house was, even if it's not that good, it's you get it for a cheap price. They thank you and thank you and thank you because you help them for real with their lives.
So I'm not going to get into politics because I just don't want to do that. But if you look at the progressive side of politics, what they have created is an America full of skepticism. Everybody is skeptical about everything, and that is not a generality. It is a true statement. Mm. So when you do give this kind of admiration and affinity, at first people will not trust it because they'll think it's faked and the other shoe is going to drop. Mm-hmm. Just pursue, because if you're sincere and it's true, it will happen. Which brings me on to the next topic, which I want to talk about. And that topic is the word scarcity. Really, this underlies any and all fear and anxiety.
Oh, interesting.
You're really worried about losing what you have or what you could have. Or worse, you're going to take on something that could be uncomfortable to handle.
Right.
Here's the thing. Scarcity is really the phenomenon of not feeling confident you can replace or create more.
That's right.
That's scarcity.
That's right.
Let's take money. If you're not willing to risk and make and give, let me try it again. Let's take money. If you're not willing to risk, waste, so you can grow. If you're not willing to risk
the waste,
yeah,
losing some
to grow, it really comes down to you feeling like life is. Feeling like if you waste something, you don't know how to replace it. Mm. So let me do that again. So if you're not willing to risk waste so you can grow, it really comes down to you feeling like Waste is something you don't know you can replace. Or it was too hard to get in the first place, and you don't want to go through that again.
Well, that kind of proves it must be hard to get another one.
So let me give you an example of that, okay? With the second one that I'm talking about, so you understand.
Yeah, I have a good example for the one you said first. It's really short.
Go ahead.
How many people have seen two people in a relationship that isn't going well, but they stay in it because they can't imagine finding somebody else that would work better, and they just stay and stay and stay.
Right.
Until finally they just give up, and now it's really hard.
Right. Yeah, now you're broken, and it's really hard.
Yeah, and they think
you're worse shape than you were, but then if you let it go.
Yep. Now you get less chance of getting a better relationship.
So let's talk about my sister for a second. She's pretty well off. She doesn't like to hear me say that. She doesn't want the family to know. And now I'm telling the whole world. But they don't know my sister, so. Money's not an issue for her. She's continuously told me that for a year.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know her finances because we've talked about it. I think I'm the only one that knows about her finances, but we talked other than her husband.
Mm-hmm.
But she worked for a big company, Bristol Myers, for 60 plus hours a week for 38 years.
Ouch.
Week after week, month after month, year after year.
Oh.
To get to this not worry about money state.
Oh, God. You know what? I'm sorry, but I don't think it's worth it. 60 hours a week, 38 years. Ouch.
How much is she willing to risk this money? You see what I mean?
She worked hard for that. Ouch.
Now let's look at me. I waste money more than I should on trying new things and getting things done. I don't waste money like on big houses and cars. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably the top wasted money I have is my cigars.
Cigars.
Because
when you're done, you got ash.
Yeah, I got nothing. I got a memory.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not even that because I smoke too many of them. Right?
I spend mine on guitars.
These are two different schools with the same mommy and daddy.
Yeah.
Right? And
how two people can
and
come
I
out
didn't
so
realize it till I
different.
just say it now, but I guess that's Rich Dad Poor Dad. I wasn't even thinking that when I wrote it.
Yeah.
But I had so two different schools with the same mommy and daddy, right?
Was your godfather like Kiyosaki in terms of like on
that's
practicality?
Why that book was so impingitative to me, because I had a rich dad and I had a poor dad. I actually had that happen to me.
Was he also good with money?
My godfather, yeah, he was very good with money.
Oh, good.
He was stingy, but when he died. When he died, there was quite a few bucks there.
Yeah, people with money are stingy. That's why they have money. They don't just blow it on stupid stuff.
Right. Now, there are two different schools of thoughts.
Yeah.
I know that not all my investments will have returns or what I need, but I'm willing to take risks, to try new things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm constantly trying to expand, and you know that.
Yeah, well, you do the multiple investment just in case one doesn't work out, and you have the other ones to back it up.
Because I've got a lifetime of I spent 2 years doing this, and oops, I guess I shouldn't have spent the 2 years doing that. I guess I'll do something else when I'm rock bottom. Right? So nowadays I've just learned to juggle more than one so that hopefully one will work.
Well, it's somewhat of a diversification. Right. It's just doing enough business so that something will work out, or most of it will work out to compensate if anything, any big risk doesn't pan out. And if it pans out, then you're even more ahead of the game.
So if you don't have enough money, right, and don't have enough resources to expand and make more than what you need, you're in trouble. And if you don't meet more people or meet new people to make an influence on your life and make you smarter to help your cause, you'll be in fear. And you'll have anxiety. You won't believe in yourself. You'll have scarcity. Right?
That meeting new people, it's got both my eyes and my ears open.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So, you'll, like I said, you'll have fear, you'll have scarcity. You won't believe in yourself. You'll start to believe the naysayers. Right? Now, before we wrap up here, let's reel this back into some real estate investing because we jumped into the profound poll today, right? The only way to make huge profits, any profits, to make a profit in real estate is to find and make offers to motivated sellers. It's the only way to do it. You are not going to do it any other way. If you don't make an offer to a motivated seller, now, maybe the seller's motivated to get his $300,000.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the seller's motivated to relieve himself of debt. Maybe he's motivated to get rid of his ex-wife or soon-to-be ex-wife and the house is connected to it. Maybe he's motivated to get his mom and dad's probate house done because he's tired of going there every weekend cleaning it out and he'd rather be playing golf and smoking cigars. Maybe he's motivated or she's motivated because they live in a different state or because they got a job transfer. However, the motivation. And motive, we looked up a couple weeks ago on a podcast. Motive means something that's making them move.
Right.
It's some influence or something that's in their environment that's causing them to move, get into action, as you said before.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So the only way to make huge profits in real estate is to find and make offers to motivated sellers. And if you constantly are connecting with new people, especially those whom have a house for sale, like for sale by owners, they're actually out there promoting, I have a house for sale, please call me. So you're not cold calling, you're just talking to people that want to talk to you because remember what I told you earlier in the formula. What's the first thing you're going to do? Is find people that want, they're communicating about what they want.
Mm-hmm.
They want an offer. They don't want their house sold at first. They just want an offer to see if you and them fit.
Yeah.
So you need to so what better place to go do that than a for sale by owner, right? Sooner or later, preferably sooner, you will match up to someone who will take a deep discount or let you make monthly payments until you can pay them off. If you meet enough new people, that will happen. If you tell the grocery clerk that's ringing you out at the grocery store that you buy and sell houses, they may know someone. If you tell the oil guy that just delivers your oil and go out and actually talk to him when he's putting the oil in your tank out in the side of your house, he might know someone.
You know what happened to me yesterday? I'm watering some flowers in front of my house, just take care of my property. And a pickup truck pulls up in front of the house. I go, who's this? I'm not expecting a student now. That's not one of mine. He comes up. I say, hi. He says, you give the guitar lessons? I got a little sign, Guitar Star Instruction in front of my house. A little sign, .com. He goes, yeah. So I've been driving by that thing. I've been wanting to stop in. I saw you. Like, can I have lessons? Like, sure, come on in. But I go, so what do you do? I'm an inspector. I work part-time for the city of Southington. I have 21 guys I pull to do repairs, plumbing. I do HVAC, plumbing. I do all that. Commercial, residential. I do all that stuff. Oh, you do? So it's like I might be able to use you. He goes, right. You know anybody who wants to sell an apartment?
See?
He walked into the house.
Constantly have to meet new people.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's cute. That was yesterday.
Nice. So sooner or later, you're going to hook up with somebody that will either want to give you a deep discount or are willing to let you make payments until you can pay them off. And here's the punchline. And if you have fear or anxiety about making offers, you think you need to learn everything and you need to be perfect and you need to know before you can do, you need to go watch my videos on deal structuring, my free videos at flippinghousesforrookies.com/free stuff. That's flippinghousesforrookies.com/free stuff. Just go watch my videos. Don't watch them once. Watch them 5, 10 times, as many times as you can. And absorb whatever you can absorb. Don't be me. Don't try to be an expert. Right? And then just go talk to enough people and you'll find someone to work with and do a deal.
Mm-hmm. Now,
hang on. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, when you're looking at those videos, pick the deals that you are not terrified of.
Right.
There's a few in there that are very simple, extremely low risk, like no risk almost. Work on those so you're not terrified. Start there. You always say to do that. So when you look at them, notice those.
So here's my final thought. Okay. Stop trying to be clever and know everything. Here you go. Here's the punchline. Because once you find a truly motivated seller, they will practically throw the house at you. Actually, you don't need to know crap. You'll figure it out as you go. Because if you really want the house and they're throwing it at you, you will figure it out. Worst case scenario is you go to flippinghousesforrookies.com, top right hand side, contact us, comes right to me. Mm-hmm. Send me a support ticket. Worst case scenario.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you right now, from as deep as I can go, and Bill, as deep as I can go, you find a deal and everything will come together. Everything will come together. Everything will come together because it'll motivate you to find the resources. It'll motivate you to find the money, the contractors. It'll motivate you to figure out the process. It'll motivate you to do a lot. I gotta read my notes here.
Mm-hmm.
If for some reason the deal doesn't work out, you'll get the best education you ever got on how to do a deal. And money can't buy that.
Yeah. There's two things that kept me from worrying too much about this. One was, we said a minute ago, you'll figure it out. You don't have to know everything. Professionals don't know everything. They have advisors, associates, people on the team. So when somebody asks you a question you don't know, say, I'm not sure of that one, but I have a guy that works with me. That's what he does. I'll go find out and I'll let you know.
Or have him call you.
Yeah, that too. But that way it takes the fear of, I don't know everything. Of course you don't know everything. You don't have to. Every executive and CEO has a board of directors of people or whatever the hell. Right. A mastermind team. That's one.
Yeah, nobody does it by themselves.
No.
It's always a team.
Yep.
So the only thing holding you back is just not out there constantly connecting with enough new people. That's all it is. And if you have fear and anxiety with connecting with new people, then just do it with one. Mm-hmm. One a week. Go when you're in the grocery store, talk to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just pass by them. Hit their carriage and say, "I'm sorry," and start a conversation.
Did you hit my carriage on purpose?
Yes. I wanted to talk to you. Right? You go to a restaurant, talk to the person next to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Here's another one. Don't go to the same restaurant. Go to a different restaurant and talk to the waiter or waitress.
Yeah. How about go downtown and walk around at busy lunchtime and just look at people and say hi? Yep. Just walk around.
Yep.
Just look at people. Just be around people. Notice that you don't die. Nobody stabs you, and it's fine.
The more people you meet and the more new people you hook up with, the better your life will become.
Is that because we're all like little batteries?
Energizer batteries.
In a sense, we all have power. We all have motion. We all have aspirations. And if you connect the right cables to the right people, things can happen.
It's a good analogy.
It's crazy, but you know me.
So I'm begging, I'm crying out, I'm yelling, help, help, help. I need reviews. Please, please, please go give us some reviews. I need many, many, many reviews. And why am I doing this? Because I actually went and did some analysis on where our podcast is, and there are people that are below me, because we're like number 2 in iTunes right now.
Yeah.
That have hundreds of reviews, and I don't have that. So just with my ego the way it is if they can get 150,000 reviews, I can too. So help. Please, please, please go give us a review. If you go to flippinghousesforrookies.com, on the top page it says podcast. If you click on the podcast page, or go to flippinghousesforrookies.com /podcast. There's a link there that you can go give reviews either on iTunes or wherever else you are. But please give us reviews. We work pretty hard to put this podcast on every week. I think at this point we're the largest one like us. I mean, I know Bigger Pockets has a lot of, and there's a lot of other guys that have a lot of, 200 plus podcasts, but nobody has 153 podcasts on just creative financing. If you notice, there's no commercials. We fund it ourselves. The only thing I ask is for reviews. So if you listen to our podcast and you've gotten a lot of information and we've helped you or we've encouraged you or heck, even got you to go to our website and you bought some stuff there or got some free stuff there.
Heck, if you bought some houses.
Yeah.
Because people buy houses. I wonder if people bought houses and we never find out about it.
Yep.
We find out about some, but I bet there's people who bought houses and don't even tell us.
Exactly.
Tell us.
So go give us a review. If you think that there's a topic you want us to talk about, go to flippinghousesforrookies.com. Send me and contact us. Send me a support ticket. I will gladly talk about what you or will design a show and help you. I've done that a few times. Mm-hmm. If you have questions, I answer all the support tickets myself. So please communicate.
And on behalf of all the listeners and myself, we want to give you a big fat acknowledgement for your messages today and your soul searching, your soul cleanses. Everybody, here it comes. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. Over and out.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.